Let's talk about Veto. Because there was a game played between PRX and GENG in a grand final where both teams decided to play Veto here on Abyss. And I think most of us can agree that PRX and GENG are going to be pretty good teams. But yet still, the level of Veto that you see in these games, I think, is worryingly low, to the point that I asked the question, are there no good Vetos? Or is Veto no good? Okay, so let's kick this thing off with round number 3. And off the very rip, just watch this from Karen here. He's going to be on screen. Let's see what he does. He's going to place his trip, and he's just going to throw it there. Now, this lands just here, right? And throwing the trip there doesn't really make a lot of sense. What he did last round was he ran up here, came over here, jump peeked, and then threw it down here. Which was better, because obviously where that X is, you then stop people, you know, doing this or this, which is good. Where this one currently is, doesn't actually stop anyone from doing that, which isn't great. And also could be, if someone was here, they would just see where you've thrown that and just destroy it straight away. You tell me whether this looks like a lineup or not, right? Does this look like a lineup to you from Karen? No, it doesn't. This lends credence to the kind of the theory of, maybe there are no good Vetos because maybe we haven't been putting enough time into learning stuff like that, which seems like that would take you maybe, I don't know, a minute of time to learn a lineup. As GENG, they're going to come out towards A here. And this was another problem with this game is that, you know, PRX had their Veto on B for most of the time and GENG just kept going A. And what we're going to get is we're going to get this Veto TP just there. You see it placed. Watch this exec. Let's watch him eventually use this TP here, Karen. But you just tell me whether that TP is a good idea.
是的，因为新锐其实在原点，看怎么
给技能了，云地剑，光能闪包给到点后，点后这个地方真的站不住啊！一套技能组合，直接把点后的位置给买了下来。而且2楼卡尔都已经到了，这位置用暗兽来清自己家里门口，再一个 TP 出去。来看一下，关键要看这个重生点的烟怎么出。哦，打外先顶了一个 Lucky， 但是脚下怎么说？ 左右都有脚下啊！
这么纯净的对枪吗？
卡戎应该会拉出去，等你低包拉出去看一眼再传送吗？没有，直接拉出去打了。脚下有人在拆包，有人在拆包，就看这边因为能不能扛得住，因为扛住了一个不够。
Okay, so this one is going to separate the results Randys from the process Pauls, okay? Because what we're going to get in this round is a start off with a great exec from GENG, right? Nice little use of the waylay here, right? Really, really good stuff. They get the next kill as well. And Karen's initial TP is a good idea, right? But here we get the sense, again, you can tell, like, that TP is absolutely fine, right? He's creating some pressure, he's destroying a prowler, he's showing himself there, and then he's TPing away. Okay, absolutely fine. Now, though, he is going to just stay here. Now, not only is he just going to stay here, but he's also going to put down another teleporter, right? And this is where you can tell this guy doesn't know how to play this agent. He is just baiting his whole team. How the hell are you going to see someone here before your teammate here does? He's just straight up baiting. He's not doing anything. He's not helping with the round. And yeah, he does end up winning the round. But this is a 5v3 that he turns into a losable position because he's just chilling. Like, how are you just chilling here? And maybe it's not Karen's fault. Maybe it's the team's fault for not all retreating. Maybe that should be their plan. Actually, wouldn't be a bad plan in a 5v3. Either way, someone is wrong. Something is wrong here because there is no way we should have one player just chilling, doing absolutely nothing whilst he waits for his teammates to die on sight. Right here, after you TP'd the first time, bro, you've got another TP. Jump off this box, put the second TP back up here, and go and help your team. And then if you need to, come and TP back. So again, to me, we're seeing here, you know, a level of play. He also has not used his signature ability this entire round either. Clearly our level of Veto, from even good teams and good players like Karen is still very, very low. Now, just to give you some quick information before we go any further, the reason that I wanted to take a look at this game was not just because we had 2 Vetos, but also because Karen had a good game, right? So if you're just a stats Sally, you're going to look at Karen here and be like, oh, this guy must be a Veto expert. He knows what he's doing. And so that's what I was coming to this game to watch, but that is not what I did see. Okay, now let's get back to round number 9 and let's talk about Devi. So Devi has used his ult in a round prior, right? But what I want to talk about here is when to actually use the Veto ult, because I think we've seen a lot of Vetos just basically, oh, I've got my ult, let's just use the ult, right? Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do wonder, is there a potential for maximizing the value from the ult by looking at when your opponent gets their ults online and you start thinking about, well, this is a crucial gun round, right? Their money is low, you know, they've got 2 big ults, and again, The veto ult doesn't counter every ult, right? Like against a Yoru ult or an Astral ult, your veto ult is doing nothing, right? But against a Waylay ult and a Sova ult, ooh, big value potential here, right? For a veto ult to counter these. Especially in like crucial gun rounds like this where the money is kind of a bit low for both sides, right? Probably an eco for whoever loses this round. Could we potentially save, you know, our veto ults for rounds like this rather than just using them in any gun round that comes up? And obviously this isn't perfect. You're never going to be able to perfectly predict when your opponents are going to use ult. You can't control that. But even if you know, if Divide did use his ult in this round, and that stopped GENG because they didn't want to waste theirs from using theirs. Well, if that stops them on a crucial kind of eco swing round, then that still is value, right? If you're stopping them from using their ults in what really is a very important round.
一起来做协同，消遣无人机被解决到了，时光就落场直接覆盖狂烈之中，也直接拉满。
好点。
卡戎直接是混掉了 Forsaken， 因为也反手混掉了卡戎，但不解渴啊，这个混。
So what we see here is one, a nice use of an interceptor. That's good. Love to see that. But number two, we see that, you know, we get blasted by this Waylay ult. And again, just imagine if we are, you know, ulted here and we don't get affected by that. We don't have to TP out. We leave Forsaken kind of on his own, you know, with not much to do. We wouldn't have to worry about the Sova ult. This Waylay is probably in a lot of trouble dashing into us there, you know, because we're not affected by anything whatsoever. I'm not like blaming Devi for using his ult when he did, because again, it's difficult to predict. You know, you're not 100% sure when your opponent is going to use ults. But I'm just bringing up the question of, should we save veto ult more for kind of, you know, these sort of rounds, you know, these crucial swing gun rounds, big ult rounds kind of situations? Should we wait to use our veto ult for those more important bigger rounds where you can counter big ults? And following on from that, there is a round that will always probably be a pretty good time to use a veto ult, and that's in round 12 or round 24, because of course, not only do you kind of have to use your ult because it's the last round and a half, but you know that your opponents, with any ults that they potentially have, well, they're going to use them as well because it's the last round and a half, right? So you can always guarantee that, you know, anyone playing the game sensibly is going to play for those ults in those rounds, and it can make a difference, like in this one.
有反击技能，队友在勾，还在掏刀 capture， 他想要去控球，
想大拉，但是没想到对面是一个双拉。 现在只是一个1换1，不是要操作，他留了个小缝，但是对方已经有预警了，
没有退守的可能，只能在点里硬拼了。
啊，直接露脚步来了，有叶林，这叶林是包吃的，哇，这叶林转麻了，哎，卡戎，
他是完全进化，他不受影响。
哇，卡戎在田里。
There you go, great example there from Karen, where Karen doesn't get hit by this fatal. Right, and particularly for ults like a fatal, where you're expecting it to give you perfect information of, you know, where people are, not only do we get that, but we also get a great use of the interceptor here as well. Destroys, I think, what would be a saturate there as well, which, again, you don't even need because you're not going to get hit by it. So again, GENG is always in trouble there. And we see the value that it potentially can give. So again, kind of in that similar situation where maybe if you get that veto ult on round 10, 11, right? Don't use it for that round, because round 12 you can be like more sure that probably ults are coming your way because people have to use them. And then finally here, let me show a GENG defensive round in round number 17. And again, this round is going to go well, but again, I think does show that like we're just not in a good veto place right now.
抢起锋刺之类的枪了，看能不能拼一回合下来，直接去冲 B 点。
有把判官哦，
卡戎是把判官啊！
来，
卡戎可太懂了，
食人体还没交，但是哎，在侧面接了一个，
悬崖来了，
这个
悬崖
烟
听到脚步了，但是他有点不太敢出去，先找人，烟要散了，有人在过点处在看，卡戎已经是喷掉了一个，而且悬崖这个位置他又踢了回去，哦哟。
So what was the problem with this one? Well, the problem is that again, our setups, we aren't sure of them enough. We're taking too much time. I mean, you know, Karen has been across the map here to come and place this teleport down, but by the time he gets back, you know, by the time the barriers are going down, so the round starts now, he hasn't placed any other utility. Right, so now he's just lobbing this down here. He's put a teleport back in heaven. He never puts down this interceptor. They go for a fast B exec. Like, you know, this is just kind of the stuff that's like, that isn't really acceptable. You got to know that, yeah, this is something that you can do on veto, right? This is a good idea to have this here, to make these rotates quicker in case they go for a fast A hit, right? Like, yeah, it all makes sense. You know, PRX on an eco, you're expecting a fast hit. It makes sense to have your veto. Faster rotates, potential to get out. Put a trip back here, hold the site, all that good. But you have to be able to do this stuff. You know, this again is the kind of thing to me that shows like agent mastery, right? You wouldn't catch Nats, even though Nats is IGLing, you wouldn't catch Nats with some Cypher setup that he doesn't know what he's doing, right? Or hasn't got it down in time. And yeah, they win the round. It's against an eco using a judge. I like that with Veto as well, right? Like, yeah, this is all nice. He uses the TP after he gets out, you know, gets a kill, gets out. Cool. Like all that. That's fine. But defense round, we cannot be sitting here with this not used. In TMV's house, that ain't flying, okay? So I do still think we got some ways to go with Veto in terms of the actual level of play that we are seeing right now, even from some very good teams and very good players.